Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, a year and a half after up to 87 million Facebook profiles were harvested in the Cambridge Analytica data scandal, Mark Zuckerberg is still facing questions over his role in the affair. The social media boss was grilled about what he knew and when he knew it by US politicians on Capitol Hill. He also faced swingeing criticism over his company's attitude to policing political advertising. Our Washington correspondent, Siobhan Kennedy, reports.
Sometimes even the most tech-savvy can't safeguard their privacy. Mark Zuckerberg had come to talk about a new digital currency, but it was Facebook's insistence it won't fact-check political ads that had lawmakers incensed.
Joe Biden promised Ukraine $1 billion if they fired the prosecutor investigating his son's company.
Ads like this by President Trump's re-election campaign, offered up with no evidence, should be removed by Facebook because they're not true, say the Democrats. But Mr. Zuckerberg says it's not up to him to censor political speech and has allowed the ad to run.
They lost the election. Now they want to steal this one. Don't let them.
So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez asked him if she could run an ad claiming the Republicans had endorsed the Democrats' climate change proposals.
I mean, if you're not fact-checking political advertisements, I'm just trying to understand the bounds here. What's fair game?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
You don't know if I'll be able to do that.
I think probably.
Do you see a potential problem here with a complete lack of fact-checking on political advertisements?
Well, Congresswoman, I think lying is bad, and I think if you were to run an ad that had a lie, that would be bad.
So you won't take down lies, or you will take down lies? I think it's just a pretty simple yes or no. Okay.
I believe that people should be able to see for themselves what politicians that they may or may not vote for
so
are
you
saying,
won't take
judge
them
their
down.
character for them.
All this matters because President Trump has already spent millions of dollars on digital advertising for 2020, and Facebook allows him to target not just the Trump faithful, but potential new supporters too. Last week, Democratic presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren decided to fight fire with fire, or Facebook with Facebook. She bought this ad claiming Mark Zuckerberg had endorsed Donald Trump. You're probably shocked, and you might be thinking, how could this be possibly true? Well, it's not. Sorry.
What you consistently see on Facebook is these stories that are not fact-checked, that are by garbage organizations, making the top 10 stories that go viral every single day. So the truth is, this isn't free speech. It's an algorithm that prioritizes outrage and false accusations.
AOC, as she's known, wasn't in Congress when the Facebook boss faced a grilling over the Cambridge Analytica data scandal. So the Congresswoman took a moment to clear up some facts.
What year and month did you personally first become aware of Cambridge Analytica?
I'm not sure of the exact time, but it was probably around the time when it became public.
When was the issue discussed with your board member, Peter Thiel?
Congresswoman, I don't know that off the top.
You don't know. This was the largest data scandal with respect to your company that had catastrophic impacts on the 2016 election. You don't know?
Well, Congresswoman, I'm sure we discussed it after we were aware of what happened.
Okay.
In that election, Facebook allowed Russia to run rampage across its platform with fake political ads. Foreign campaigns have already been discovered and removed this time round, Mr. Zuckerberg says. But even he admits Facebook can't guarantee to stamp out foreign interference in 2020.
Siobhan Kennedy reporting from Capitol Hill.
I think probably.
Do you see a potential problem here with a complete lack of fact-checking on political advertisements?
Well, Congresswoman, I think lying is bad, and I think if you were to run an ad that had a lie, that would be bad. That's different from it being, in our position, the right thing to do to prevent your constituents or people in an election from seeing that you had lied.
So just how much of a problem is misinformation or even outright lies on social media platforms? Joining us now to put us in the picture from central London, Peter Jukes, founder of the Byline Times. Peter, good afternoon to you.
Good. Hello there, sir.
It was quite a feisty exchange there between Congress and Mark Zuckerberg. And when pressed on whether outright lies put out there and political adverts on his platform, whether they should be removed, he completely avoided the question. Is it up to social media platforms like Facebook to vet content of adverts, particularly when it comes to politics?
Well, the thing is, it's using a classic free speech argument, isn't it? He's saying basically, I might not think lies are right, but other people should see the lies. He's trying to avoid the fact that Facebook is one of the biggest global corporations and makes billions out of publishing this stuff. He is, in effect, a publisher. And obviously, a newspaper or a broadcaster like yourself would fact-check if somebody lied on your program. And always he has sucked billions from classical advertising on newspapers or television, and he cannot avoid responsibility for the content he provides. And that's the dilemma they're always in. If it was just a matter of free speech, he has a point. But the fact he's making billions, not only from advertising, for political advertising. 80% of, I think, the Vote Leave advertising went on Facebook and social media. So if you're making money from it, you have responsibility for it.
Yeah, how concerning do you think this is? I mean, for instance, in this country, we look like we're heading towards a general election, perhaps before Christmas. And so many people now are getting their political information from social media sites like Facebook, and they're going on there unfact checks. And we talk about this echo chamber. People share these views and perhaps don't fact check them themselves. So how concerned are you by the fact that it is unregulated on social media?
Well, I think the ICO, the Commissioner's Office, and the Electoral Commission have said our rules around election advertising and social media are unfit for purpose. They've begged the current government to update them. And I think, we're looking at a position. There's sort of various problems here. It's not just about, lies in campaign advertising. What the Russian intervention showed, this is the Internet Research Agency, which your previous speaker, Sean, mentioned, was they were creating fake news sites. It was disinformation. It wasn't advertising lying. It was pretending to be shots of Muslims attacking people now when it was something else many years ago. So you have that problem. You also have that problem of dark ads. You or I won't see, but they're targeted at particular people. And even more importantly, British electoral law works around the principle that no foreign bodies can fund it. But on Facebook, because of these invisible ads, we have seen millions pouring into British campaigns. There could be a campaign about abortion in Ireland or a clinic in Africa, and foreign forces, and not necessarily Russian ones, are intervening. They're intervening in national elections. You can't have a free and fair election if you don't know what you're talking about, aren't getting access to accurate information, and who's playing in the field.
Peter, it won't surprise you to find out that people have been getting in touch on social media reacting to this story. I'll just read out a couple of tweets we've had. This is from Richard Bull. He says, Facebook should pull all political ads, saving us all from the inevitable lies and sparing Facebook itself from looking foolish for promoting those lies. Tom Wilde, he tweeted, there is also a huge responsibility on the electorate themselves to fact-check the information they use. 2016 should teach many of us not to accept statements at face value. And finally, 96 said UK law should be changed so that all social media ads are regulated in the same way ads elsewhere are, especially during election campaigns. It is ridiculous and irresponsible on the part of Parliament that this hasn't happened already. To that final point there, is it in politicians' interest to introduce legislation like this? Because, for instance, Boris Johnson, Jeremy Corbyn turn now to social media to put their messages out rather than coming on mainstream news outlets a lot of the time. And, of course, that doesn't allow them to be stopped and interrupted and called out on any mistruths or spin, if you like.
No, you're right. There is a problem. I mean, we also have a problem with the mainstream press, is that they also sort of exist. That famous Christchurch, terrible video of that terrorist in Christchurch shooting up 2 mosques, that remained on the mainstream news platforms where it's taken off Facebook. I think that is one of the keys. We have to become citizen editors. We have to fact check ourselves. But electoral law was designed, the current law, in 2000. It didn't realize that most people wouldn't go through like Ofcom regulated organization like yourself, but could be direct to people. People can fight back, but also the problem is on social media, you can buy bots. You can be one guy controlling 20,000 accounts, as we discovered, and seem very popular. And actually, Oddly enough, it's often media organisations or politicians who are targeted by this kind of automation of consensus. Yeah, I think regulation, why not? They make the money. If they make money, there is a duty to the customer, if you like, a duty of care. And regulation affects other broadcasters.
Peter Jukes, really interested to hear from you this afternoon. Thank you very much. I know this conversation and debate will continue on social media this afternoon at Sky News. #SJM Show to get involved in political advertising on social media. Should it be regulated? Should it be fact-checked by the platforms before it goes live and onto your laptop, phone, wherever you're reading it?